All right. All right. Right. So last stream I was working on uh what was it? This part working? Yeah, I was working on this part working. Ah, good times, good times. Yeah, sure. I might have struggled during the stream a little bit, but still, relatively it was a good time compared to what was about to happen. Right, in case we had to program this part. So what happened uh after I stopped streaming is I decided I'm I'm going to go ahead and wait, hold on. Send credit packet, so this one has to go first. I'm going to go ahead and try compiling the entire project uh to one game file. Like to compile it so that way I can test it as a standalone executable. All right, CS ready notice, which is 0x0a, and absolutely has nothing else. What was the code for setting up those packets? Is somewhere around here. In any case, because I want to like test networking, see how far I've gotten, and well, I did go ahead and finally see something that I wanted, but that's way at the end. That's like close to now kind of situation. I'm going to go ahead and run through the entire adventure that I've got. Where is the one thing I'm looking for? Oh, damn it. Auto header. There we are. And auto zero is also going to be used. So it all starts when I a little bit after I end the stream. When I immediately end the stream, I'm going to walk out of this room and cool down for a bit because it gets pretty warm in here. But after a little while, I'm like, all right, I should go ahead and see where I am in terms of networking. So I go to compile, and to my surprise, the project doesn't compile. Okay, okay, so I go check the latest compilation output. Uh, all it says is could not find an object file, and I'm like, I don't know what to do because first I'm like, okay, I can go ahead and search up the object file, and it doesn't show up. It would probably not have been helpful if it were there and wasn't able to be found, considering that uh, if I found it, it means that it just didn't find it for some reason, and I don't. I think at that point, I just don't know what to do. Actually, I think the first thing I did was try to restart my computer. I thought, surely it has to be an error. What am I doing? It has to be an error that Actually, yeah, this is good by itself. I need to get the footer. It has to be an error that is not actually something wrong with the code, since so much of it compiles already. Uh, and it's not really giving me an error that I can use. Actually, I'm gonna get to things here. Do I actually save connection ID somewhere? I don't. Well, this is a pickle. Right. Any case, so I restart my computer and it still doesn't compile. So then I look for the object file. I don't find it, which, considering that it was saying that it couldn't find it, I guess that's a good thing. Because if it were there, I would have questioned how I didn't find it. Actually, I need to go back here and put the connection IDs. Where do I go into? No, this is a host, and this is host. You know what? Right here. It's going to go right here. It's going to be a global variable, and be this variable. Right. So, hold on. What is it that I'm looking for? Networking connection ID. All right. So I look for the source code that has a similar name, because obviously, if the object code isn't there, uh, maybe the source code is. Hold on. Is it connection ID or con ID? Connection ID. All right, we get there. Actually, I have to move it down here. Move it back down to a scene thing here. I mean, I don't find it. The source is also not found. So I'm like, okay, so why isn't it expecting a freaking object file? And it's got me confused. So I go ahead and from that point, I'm copy all of Murder Bros to like a new folder, just so that way I can test some stuff with it and not have to worry about modifying what I already have. What I do is I delete, what is it? Everything from here downwards. I delete all of that and see if I get no errors or different errors. Yeah. I have to thank the what I would like to say sponginess of gdevelop, where if there's some error that would occur because of something in gdevelop, there's a chance that it will just absorb that. I'm looking for either not compiling for a different reason or compiling. okay, it doesn't compile. So I'm like, all right, probably not that then. So I go ahead and look all up here. I delete all of that. It still doesn't compile. It doesn't even give me. It doesn't give me a different error. It doesn't compile. Same with down here. I actually have to get the. So this puts me in a. This allows me to identify that external events are not the problem. So I start deleting maps. I deleted like 3 maps at a time. I deleted map maker, test, and tutorial. Uh, or it was something like that. I don't know if map maker was in there because I remember deleting in the second go, deleting map, Alpha Manor, and Twofold Mansion. Those things went, but I accidentally double clicked on map and it gave me a compile error when it was doing its compilation when you ever no whenever you open up that because it likes to compile so that you can preview. Yeah, variables. Yeah, not working. There we go. That should do me good. Okay, so yeah, so I see and I note that down. I delete menu and because I'm like, all right, map could possibly be it. I delete menu and uh in a separate run where I delete I think car ride and menu and intro maybe. I delete those 3. Or maybe it was car ride map menu. And if it was car ride menu and intro, it wouldn't have worked. I can't remember the details, but I come across that it's both menu and map. Now, if it were Alpha Manor or Twofold Mansion, I could yeet those. Those are unnecessary. I keep them around just so I later have some reference for how to make the map files for them. But otherwise, I could just throw them out the window. Now, mind you, this is only an error when I compile to a whole game, not when I go ahead and test something in a scene. So this is very unusual for me because in theory, if it works when you're compiling one scene, it would work when you're compiling an entire game. And since generally up to that point, I didn't really expect any compile errors, maybe I should have expected that from map because it actually did give me a compile error in scene. But whatever, I'm pretty sure I deleted it and it still didn't work. Uh, right, actually, that at this point I would have to receive. So if event message, then directory message, and then uh, con ID. But then we also have to copy some stuff over here, particularly this. Right, so I'm having errors, and if I delete those two things, it compiles. Now, granted, it wouldn't be a very fun game to not have like the two important parts to playing it, because the intro I could get rid of that as much as I don't want to. Uh, car ride I could probably get rid of that. Map, absolutely not. It's vital. It's like the lifeblood. And the menu, also kind of necessary. Right, so receive message. What do I do in here when I want to check? Right, get state, con ID, and make sure it's equal to 0. If receive message is right. So I then go ahead and in my test environment, which almost all of this deleting stuff has happened in, I delete everything but menu because like I want to fix something. And so I go into menu and I start deleting some stuff to see what is the problem. Again, because I can't actually find the problem uh, by, like having a location given to me. Well, let's see. Pretty sure there was something for checking. Uh, check header buffer and or yeah, check header buffer, check footer out buffer. What? First, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be like that. Okay, any case. So I go ahead and delete a bunch of stuff. And eventually find that if I delete all the C++ events, it compiles again, which is absolutely terrible because I need those C++ events. They're not like some special effects or anything. They're actually pretty vital. So I'm stuck for like a solution. And I'm like, okay, so obviously this isn't working. Hold on, I need a ready notice? No, this is 0x0b map start. 0x0a should be ready notice. Right. So I go to my test code, the code that I use to test the networking library, because I'm like, that works. Why does that work? And I can compile that to a executable. So why does that work and this one doesn't? Because technically they're not the same. I've even copied from one to another on stream, and I didn't do everything the same twice. Uh, right, so I actually gotta be waiting for. Actually, I think at this point I can use characters. any case, uh, so right, where was I? Right, right. So I look at the two, and I'm like, the first conclusion I come to is, oh my goodness, I don't know how this could have possibly worked. I forgot the include guard, and no, it wasn't that issue. And I'm like, well, okay, suppose that's good. I mean, I guess that really means that I didn't like double include anything. Right, so I have to receive a ready signal from all. You know what? You know how I'm gonna accomplish this? I'm gonna make a new variable. Probably should not have opened that up. Any case, so I'm stuck because I don't know what to do. So I'm like, okay, wait a minute, hold on. Cint types is not actually defined or like included in nethelper.c++, which it uses. I mean, how has this not been a problem before? So I include it in like my test where I'm doing one thing at a time. Actually, I make another project for testing this out, which also had the same problem that it wouldn't compile. Because I was just wondering if it was something weird with the particular file I've been using for a long time. No, it's actually something that is reproducible in another thing. So I test out like include cint types when I compile because that's actually specified within my test and uh, not within here. Of course, now I have whatever fix that I needed, which yes was cint types. It was literally the fact that gdevelop would go ahead and specify cint types automatically to networking.c++ and nethelper.c++. I imagine it did it for everything, uh, but yeah, it would specify that for it. So whenever I'm previewing a scene, it would be like, oh yeah, we have everything we need. I got to check. It's for like I think still in here I don't need to specify it, but in my own C++ files I do, which this was just something really hard to debug because I didn't know what was going wrong. So then objects lists. It should either keep its current state or set it to false. So this is the only thing that sets it to true, and if it gets true here, then it's because every value has set it to its current state, which means that it kept being true. All right. Then at that point, uh, work here. Right. So I do come across that it's necessary, but when I go to compile it, because I think, okay, I found the solution. It was, if I'm going to be honest, if I'm going to be honest how I feel, it was a stupid one, and it shouldn't have been a problem in the first place, because it should have already told me that it wasn't compiling, but I found the solution. Uh, it still didn't work for one reason or another, and I was like, okay, okay, it works for map, but it doesn't work. Or sorry, it works for a menu, but it doesn't work for map. What's the problem here? And it was like redefinition of one thing. I'm like, okay, okay, that I at least understand where the problem is more immediately understood to me. So the first, or sorry, it also didn't work in map, but that problem was uh I'm gonna put solved in quotation marks, heavy quotation marks. It works now. I'm just not entirely if it's the best patch. Right. In any case, I need to for loop send this or actually just copy this over here. Uh, then I want actually I need to compile the message, which uh, buffer or I need to use these functions down here. Maybe just in here. Right. In any case, so first was a bunch of redefinitions. So I was like, that shouldn't be a problem. I'm only including the the header. I have a dependency on that C++, but that's because I actually depend on it. But the header is what's specified up here, so it should be the thing that's compiling with it. But it says like redefinition of literally everything in the C++ file, and I know that it's getting it from the C++ file because there's some functions in the C++ file that are not exposed by the header. Particularly, emergency exit is a function defined in C++ in the implementation file that isn't specified in the header, and that's just to shut everything down really quickly. Or I guess really it's just to shut everything down because I also use that in the actual file if I remember correctly. Right, so this would be what a zero B. So this zeroes it out. This gives it a header, and then this sets the footer correctly. Okay, I think that's what I needed. Actually, I do need this, but I need to have it up here. And objects list dot at, and we want variable get variables dot get. Is it connection ID? I'm gonna have to check on that. Was it stage 2 that things spawn in? Con ID. So it's not compiling. So I put an include guard in the actual implementation file, which I imagine would not really be necessary. And so those errors go away. But the errors, there's still errors in what in map, and it was like, oh, this gdevelop thing was redefined. And I'm like, I have no control. Oh wait, hold on. So I moved some stuff to a new, like I create a new C++ code thing, and then I just copy pasted everything from that to the other one, and then I delete the original. And so far it works. So that's what I have in terms of having things work. And this should send it to, yeah, okay. But then we also need to check because ready doesn't actually set itself to 1, it sets to 0, just like any other variable that isn't specified. Actually, I'm going to have this return. But I also need to set a variable. So that way this knows that the variable is actually set. What do I use here? Do I use something here? Set value. So that's my, I didn't copy that. I just selected that. There we go. So now we have a value that is exported from this C++ code that we can use. I'm using the word export in a very unusual way. And what I need to do from stage 6, what do I do here? Okay, I guess I'll just do the same thing here. It should get me somewhere. Right, in any case. So right, I should if or for And I'm going to copy this once more, if not twice more. For this list of objects, I need to check to see if I receive a packet with type 0x08. And I'm going to copy some stuff from over here. Ooh. Right. Any case. So what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to check to see if the header and the I'm trying to check everything, and I'm not entirely sure why I'm given an indent here. I'm like certain that this is error. Did I? Zero A is needed here, and also so I'm going to copy this. I'm going to right here. Right, and if that checks out, then I can go ahead and do this. But I don't want to get the value. I want to set the value. Set it to 1. Okay, yeah, that's why there was no semicolon. This should give me everything that I need. Hmm. That might explain something. Right. So then I actually have to check over here, and I'm going to probably use the same variable. Actually, I'm going to move this right out here so that way I can use the use one event for both things. I think that is it. How much time did I spend on that? Quite honestly, that is not as much as I thought I was spending on this. So this waits up for all the clients to be synced up, so that way no one moves without another being able. One does not particularly have to move, but they all need to be able to in order for the game to start. That is, you have to at least load up to stage 6. This is the point where everything syncs up. Because before this point, nothing is shared between any of the clients and the server. The last that they heard was, "Hey, go to this map," which was 6 stages ago, and they're on the 7th, which is titled 6 because stage 0 exists. Uh, right. So then I would need to go into play code. And in here, that's where I need to do the networking code the most. Okay, so let's see. Player control is from client to server, so I guess I'll work on that first. So I'm going to deactivate this. Deactivate this. Make a new group in here. And do stuff in here. So the first thing I want to do is I want to send states. So this will get pass a list of pointers to objects, and those objects are going to be characters. Now, I can't have it just send just getting every character. That would not be very efficient for what I want to do. What I want to do is I want to go ahead and get a particular one. Easy. We go ahead and no, wait, hold on. We go ahead and find the characters, which has a control equal or of equal to local. If I remember correctly, that was what the control is set to. I'm going to double check in stage 1. Local to control of charcoid. All right. Characters copies from Charfoid, so now I have a reference. So the things I need to send over, X and Y. Those will be limited to whatever 3 bits was. I believe it was enough. I'm not gonna like working on this particular thing too much, am I? Any case, at this point, I'm gonna also make sure that networking gets this. I don't want to just assume that it's there, despite the fact that it really should only, uh, despite the fact that it should be there because it has to pass through a stage that it cannot skip. Should probably change one thing about this, and I foresee an issue because all of this code runs for two things. First, it runs for the network games, and it runs for split screen games. For network games, this is great. This is the stuff. For split screen games, they would be stuck right here because they don't have anyone to connect to, and thus no connection could work because there's not any connections actually open. Dang it. So if that was on me. If networking is zero, then it should just zoom right past. That way, split screen games just don't bother with stage six. They bother a little bit with stage six, but it just zooms right past it. Right. So Hmm. Right, so we need to get the connection ID from networking connection ID, which is pulled from the global variable. Then what do we need to send over? We need to send X position and Y position. Let's work on the X position first. So unit 32 T X pause Y pause. Let's just set these to 0 at the moment. So from here, a uh, we need to copy some variables from the objects that we have. So there'll be X pause equals uh, objects list at 0. Let's wrap this in uh, just in case there's some error. I don't want it to be worse. Granted, this is not exactly a good situation to be in, but I want to make it at least not as bad as possible. What was it? I'll have to check. That's not going to compile because it's not an actual return type. It's a variable type, which has certain actual variables inside of it, if I remember correctly. Player. Movement, animation, and U. Okay, pause.x and pause.y. That's okay, I suppose. Wait, so now I get uh the x position and the y position. This hold on. Sorry, I had to stretch a little bit. This gives me a 32-bit number, but we only want a 24-bit number, and we want to have it signed. So we go ahead and identify what we want. So let's go over to programmer. So 2 raised to the 24. And what does that get us? Okay. Okay, that was gets us this number. And we want to take this number, minus 1, 1, and we get all the numbers before it. So we want to AND with this. And 8. Wait, I could have probably just did this. 0x 7f ff ff. We can do the same thing right here. Then, if hold on, probably should do int 32 to this. This will either give us a positive number or a negative number, but it will be represented as a positive number. If this variable is less than 0. Particularly if it's less than or equal to -1. -4. Then we want we want what do we want? Right, we want to actually set the bit. So x pos equals x pos or x 800000. I am absolutely not gonna like where this goes. Okay, I'm gonna stretch this out a bit. So now we have our 24 byte wide. Uh, yeah, wait, hold on, no. Yeah, no, actually that works. Sorry, I was thinking of something being messed up, but it is. It is. It's fine. Uh, it's actually getting a little warm in here. Not too much though, but it's getting there. Okay, so then I want to also take player animation status and whether or not the animation is playing. How do I get that? I don't. Okay. You know what? I could just actually no. I want to do this in C++. I don't want to have to do janky workarounds if I don't have to. Sprite. Okay. The image name, get image name, get image name. Measurements at point. Point. Get origin, center. It's default center point. Uh, Get all non-default points. Return all points excluding origin and center. At point, get point, as point, get origin, get center. Where do we get the properties of this thing? This is going to fail. Sprite object. That's probably what I was looking for. Okay. Get animation. Uh, Wait, hold on. Let's see. Sprite objects. Clone. Okay. Expose resources. Uh, get properties. Update property. Get initial instance properties. Update initial instance properties. Probably not going to be useful. But get animation. Let's animation. Get name, set name, get direction, set directions count. Get directions count has no directions. Use multiple directions. Use set multiple directions. Uh, get properties. Property descriptor. I wish I knew what property specify if it is indeed something that you can get from get properties. What property specified? Uh, what exactly to put? String property value, add extra info, property descriptor, add extra info, that's GD string info, set type. Uh, okay, okay. You know what? Wait, hold on. Mission directions. Standard sprite objects for extensions that implement sprite extension. So built-in extensions implement sprite extension. A sprite object is an object composed of animations containing directions with images. All right, you know what? I'm going to find this out later. If you were watching, thank you. If you're watching later on YouTube, thank you. It's going to be it for me tonight. So until I see you again, this is goodbye.